Hey everyone, thank you for joining us at Curiosity Matters Podcast. My name is Courtney, and I'm joined today by my partner,
Wes, the relations extraordinaire.
and we will be discussing all things relationships as well as the inner workings of our own relationship. So we're hoping that you'll join us on this journey and stay curious along the way. So, for this first episode, to just start things off, I just want to ask you, so that way our listeners can get to know you a little bit better. What are two words that will describe the last week that you've had?
I'm going to say family values. And I'm going to say that this is why. Because now, having a child on the way, that's something that I'm thinking about more. And that's something that has kind of come up more at the same time. What kind of values am I trying to instill in the home?
Okay. Family values. All right, I could see that.
Because it's like where I come from and where you come from, it's totally different.
Oh, yeah, you say that
you know
again.
What I'm saying?
Very, very different. All right, yeah, that makes sense. I'd like to explore that more, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. For me, I would definitely say the past week has been enlightening because I'm learning more about you, about myself, and about us together every single day. But it's also been exciting because, as you said, we got a baby coming, and I'm very excited about that, excited to see how that's going to impact us as individuals, but also impact us as a couple.
So what was so enlightening?
What was so enlightening? Let's see. I've learned that I don't view things the same way that I viewed them before we got together. And I've also learned that you have made a lot of, I'm just seeing a lot of changes that you've made from the beginning of our relationship to now.
That shit crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's very crazy.
Really, the more that I think about it, it's like everything come full circle. Everything come full circle.
Yeah, definitely. So that leads me into our first segment, which is going to be a discussion about our relationship and something that I would like us to discuss. So, for our first discussion, I want us to go over the 5 love languages and the test results that we got when we first went through this test.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you who are not familiar with the 5 love languages, they are quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, and physical touch. So, do you remember your results from the 5 love languages test that we took a couple days ago?
Is that mine?
Yes, this one is yours. So, for your first one, your top love language is physical touch. So what is an example that you can give me of how you'd like to have that love language fulfilled in this relationship?
Well, in terms of the way that they explain it, I do like the physical touch. I like this cuddling and snuggling. You know that, baby. You know that's my favorite.
So cuddles and snuggles. All right.
I like my cuddles and my snuggles.
So then my primary love language is acts of service. And that can be described as, anything that you know that I need to have done or need to do that you can help me with, that means the world to me because that's how I show my love for you, is by helping you make your day easier or doing things for you. So when you return the favor and do that for me, it means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Your second love language, let's see what that is. Quality time. So what's an example of quality time that you would like to see? Or that you're already seeing?
Well, quality time is exactly what it's called, is quality time. So, I mean, as long as it's being spent quality in a way of quality, yeah.
Okay. Can you give me a specific example?
I like it. I like where we're at as far as that. I feel like we spend quality time.
Okay. So when we watch TV together or when we're hanging out just in each other's company, that works for you?
Mm-hmm. I'm making a podcast.
Or making a podcast? All right. Let's see. What is my second top love language? So my second is physical touch. Now, I will tell you, before we got into a relationship, I had taken this love language test just as a single person, and physical touch was like at the bottom. I did not do the hugs and snuggles and all of that before we got together because it just was not, there was no reason for that. Like, I just didn't see a reason to be doing all that touching and all of that. But now that we're together, I actually do like cuddling and snuggling up with you. So, yes, I definitely agree that that is my second love language. Let's see. So for your third love language, yours is acts of service. So what types of acts of service do you value?
I mean, when it comes to acts of service, I value, keeping things nice and tidy. I mean,
So you want me to clean up after you?
no, that ain't what. No, because I don't feel like it's a situation where I don't clean up behind myself. If I'm the type of person that don't clean up behind myself, and I said that I believe in keeping the place tidy, that'd be one thing. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is keeping the place tidy,
Well,
keeping things tidy.
but that's something that benefits both of us. What is an act of service that benefits you that I could do for you?
I never really thought of it like that.
Well, now is your opportunity.
Yeah, it's hard just off the top of my head, just trying to think of stuff. I mean, I look at it in a lot of ways. Like they say, it's a journey, it's not the destination. You know what I'm saying?
What does that even mean in this context?
I look at it as the little things that we do every day. You know what I'm saying? To put ourselves even that much closer towards our ultimate goals.
Okay, can you give me an example?
In other words, I'll put it like this. I don't come into the relationship like, I don't look at it. I try not to really look at it like that. Like, what can another person do for me? You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, that's one of the things that I try to avoid in that when other people, because I look at it like, really, I'm thinking more about what am I bringing out of me? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the relationship, I feel like a lot of times people think and focus on what can they extract out of that other person, and they look at that as being the point of their relationship. They're trying to get things out of that person. They trying to get this person to do these certain things, or trying to extract these material things or other whatever things out of that person. Or but I just, like I said, I look at it more of what am I trying to extract out of myself of the whole situation.
Okay, so let
So
me
that's
ask the
how
question in another
back
way.
to where you say acts of service. That is acts of service, though. You know what I mean? Maybe you're not seeing what I'm saying of how that is acts of service, but it's an act of showing that you're about what we represent.
Let me read the definition from the actual book. So, acts of service. It says, can vacuuming the floors really be an expression of love? Absolutely. Anything you do to ease the burden of responsibilities weighing on an acts of service person will speak volumes. The words he or she most want to hear, let me do that for you. Laziness, broken commitments, and making more work for them tell speakers of this language their feelings don't matter. Finding ways to serve speaks volumes to the recipient of these acts. So from what I'm hearing, based on what you said, just keeping the house clean is the only act of service that that's valuable to you.
Nah. I mean, I look at it of when you say acts of service, it's just like when you talk about acts of service, see, this is where it gets deeper than what some people can understand. Because think about how they talk about when people go in the military. What do they say? Service. You serving your country.
But that's why I read the definition, because
So,
we're not talking about that. We're talking about this definition.
yeah, but again, it goes back to, yeah, that's what I'm saying is that that is what it's saying. Laziness, broken commitments. You know what I'm saying? Like that right there, laziness. You know what I'm saying? If a person is lazy, then that goes against the acts of service.
That's the opposite of what you want, but I'm asking for examples of what you do want.
Well, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. What I'm trying to explain to you is think about it in terms of this, okay? Try to put this out of your mind of what you think this is saying. Think about it in terms of what are they telling you when they say you serve your country? What does that mean? That means it's every day how you represent. You know what I'm saying? So when they say you serve your country, when you put on that uniform, you serve the country, and that means that the actions and the way that you, even down to just the way you carry yourself when you go out in public, you know what I'm saying? That is included in the acts of service. You know what I'm saying?
That is your definition, but that's not the definition that these test results were based off of. So if we're going to use these test results, I want to use the definition that they are using to say that acts of service is one of your top 3 love languages.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I am going off of the definition. So that's what I'm saying. My acts of service is represent on a daily basis.
Okay. That's not really okay. So then let's see. My third love language in my top 3 is words of affirmation. So to read that definition, it says actions don't always speak louder than words. If this is your love language, unsolicited compliments mean the world to you. Hearing the words, I love you, are important. Hearing the reasons behind that love sends your spirit skyward. Insults can leave you shattered and are not easily forgotten. Kind, encouraging, and positive words are truly life-giving. So I think we talked about this already, but yeah, words of affirmation are important for me. You do tell me that you love me a lot, but sometimes it would help if you could give me like the behind the scenes of why you love me. Because, I mean, shoot, I'm in this house all the time by myself since I work at home. It would be nice to just get some affirmative words from you.
Mm-hmm. Like, what do you mean? What are the examples?
Like, why do you love me? Not just that you love me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. So then we've gone over our top 3 love languages. We've given examples for the most part of how we want to see this played out in real life. So then the last thing I want us to go over is, what are each of us willing to do within the next week to show love to each other in our partner's love language?
Well, like you said, and instead of telling you I love you, I'm going to tell you something specific.
Okay. What about my number 1 love language, acts of service?
But what about what I just did just now, just cleaning up in the kitchen?
Okay. So if something needs to be done, you just gonna go ahead and do it. But that benefits both of us. That's why I don't think that tidying up the house is an act of service, because that's something that we both need to be doing. So what about something specifically for me?
Okay. Like what?
I don't know. You give me a massage.
Okay. I'll give you a massage.
And let's see. For your top love language, physical touch, I don't know. I could turn up the cuddles more.
What about the top 3?
Well, we spend quality time. You said you're good on that. Acts of service. I'm still not crystal clear on what act of service you are looking for specifically for you. So I guess I'm going to have to ponder that and have a deeper discussion with you offline to see, okay, is this what you mean or not? All right. Perfect. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add to that? Okay.
All right, everybody. You can't make these things up. This week, we got a guy that allotted $365, $1 per day for a Valentine's gift for his girlfriend, and he took $1 out of the gift fund every time she yelled at him. He claimed that the gift fund whittled its way down to $40 by the time it's time for Valentine's Day. So, what would you think about that if I did something like that?
Well, first, I think that's incredibly deceitful and manipulative and has weird energy. Why would you base a gift off of something like that instead of just communicating with me about how it feels? Because he's not clear about whether she's just been yelling at him or if she's just expressing displeasure with something that he's done. It just is giving a very weird, unhealthy energy.
Well, a lot of people feel like he wasn't fair because maybe he didn't add money on when she did something good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take money away for every time she yells at you, why not add something to the gift pot every time she does something nice for you? It feels like this was just a way for him to justify spending less money on a Valentine's Day gift.
So really, it's so is this just the pressure? Valentine's Day? I mean, what would drive a person to go through these extreme lengths? Just to be cheapo?
I mean, that's what it sounded like. Sound like he either just wanted to be cheap or he was trying to create some type of clickbait because he is a TikToker. I mean, I don't know what his motivation was, but the fact that he did it is very odd. And if I was his girlfriend, I would be like, okay, so this how you want to move? You could be single then.
But I ain't never did nothing like that, first of all. Yeah. I don't know what he was thinking about.
Yeah, because, like, some of the comments were saying, like, not only could he have added something, but, like, this one person said, I'm no expert, but is this a healthy way to behave in a relationship? And I have to agree, because don't sound very healthy at all for him to just make that decision, and then it's not very clear if, like, this was an agreement that they made together for him to say, all right, I'm going to put $360 away, and every time you yell at me, because they've had that discussion about her yelling at him, he's going to take $1 away. Because if they haven't had that discussion, then it just really feels like a way for him to justify spending less money on a gift when he could have just did that from the beginning.
Okay. But I feel like this is my final thought about it. It's something must be wrong with both of them, because for something wrong with him for doing what he did or feeling like that's what he need to do. But also, there must be something wrong with her for yelling at the dude damn near every day of the year. So they probably deserve each other.
No, I don't know if anybody deserves that. I mean, I do agree that you shouldn't be yelling at somebody. You can express yourself and express that you don't like something without yelling at somebody. But again, he doesn't make it clear if that's just every time she yelled at him, like really raised her voice and yelled at him, or if she just said she didn't like something. Because if she's yelling at him every day for 320 days out of the year, that's a lot. Like, girl, don't your voice hurt? But if she's just saying, like, hey, you did this thing and I didn't like it, and he doesn't like being called out, then that's a problem he needs to work on. That sounds like a personal problem for him.
Right. Well, ultimately, a $40 gift.
I mean,
it's not too bad of a thing. I mean, $40. That's you could get a decent gift for $40.
Decent? I don't know about decent. You can get a gift. It's not gonna be very decent in today's age.
Yeah, you get a decent gift for $40.
What gift can you get for $40?
I mean, it's the thought that counts. It could just be the right thing.
Now, if her top love language is receiving gifts, that ain't gonna work.
Well, no, that's why I said it could be the right thing at the right time.
That's true, but what if she is expecting like there's just not enough information for me to go off of here, because yeah, it just is a weird dynamic for a relationship. Like it just is odd, because then what if she's giving him a nice and expensive gift for Valentine's Day and he's giving her this $40 gift? How's she supposed to feel?
Like you said, we don't have enough information for all that. But to wrap things up, in segment 3 will be our thoughts next.
Okay, so for the last segment of our first episode, thanks for hanging in there with us, guys. We are just going to reflect on our love languages discussion. So I guess I'll go first. I feel like it was a pretty good discussion. I feel like we do need to have further discussions about what acts of service we each value, so that way we can make sure that those love languages are being fulfilled. But other than that, I feel like we had a pretty good discussion on that. How about you?
As far as that, what I would say about them, that and things of that nature, because when you talk about this love language test, that's one of those psychological, but it's kind of a general and a superficial, if you will, overview that it excuse me, it can contain a deeper element, and I would like to have a discussion about just what that looks like, you know what I'm saying? Looking deeper into those topics, you know what I'm saying? And how that relates to how we operate on that level.
Okay, so you know the same thing that I said.
No, we didn't say the same thing. We didn't say the same thing.
You said
thing. You said that you wanted to go more in depth in terms of what does it mean in terms of an act of service, of how do you what do you feel is an act of service as opposed to what I'm saying is looking at looking at how on a psychological level, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times we take uh, a generality or a generic type of information, but there's a deeper level of that generic information.
Yes, that's what I wanted to discuss is the deeper level of the acts of service, because the physical touch, that's your number one and my number two. We're pretty aligned on that. Quality time is your number two. We're pretty good on that. And what was mine? Oh yeah, and then words of affirmation. So those three, physical touch, quality time, and words of affirmation, we seemed pretty aligned on how we can show each other value in those areas. But for acts of service, that seems like the one love language that we need to dig deeper on. And so I hear you when you say you want to discuss like the psychological philosophy behind it. But to me, that sounds like we need to just have a deeper discussion about the love languages all together, as well as that one specific love language, acts of service.
Yeah. That's the way of looking at it.
So then, I feel like that was a pretty good discussion. And let's see, what else did we discuss today? Oh, yes, the TikTok Valentine's Day gift. That just gives me so many thoughts. But the first one is just, why would you be with somebody if you feel the need to even do something like that instead of just clearly communicating with them how you feel or how them yelling at you makes you feel? I don't know.
True that.
It's very odd. But hey, whatever floats your boat. Maybe he likes that type of drama. It gives him content for his TikTok. Or maybe it was a lie. Who knows if it was even true? People make up lies for the internet all the time.
Yeah, ultimately it is over dramatic. It was a little dramatic when you talk about deducting $1, getting yelled at every day. It sound like the state of the home is in disarray.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if they live together. That sounds like a horrible place to live. If somebody's yelling at somebody every day and you secretly deducting money because you done got yelled at, sounds very immature and unhealthy. Let's see. So then the last question I have for you, is there anyone in your life or our lives that you feel could benefit from the love languages test?
I feel like a lot of people could benefit from the love languages test, and I encourage anybody who's listening, all of our listeners, to take the love language test, comment in on your results, send us emails about your results. Also, if you have any questions for us, or if you seek any advice, I am the relationship extraordinaire. So anybody that want to know any advice about what's going on in your relationship, let me know. I'll help you out.
Oh yeah, tons of help. Okay, so then based off of the way the love languages test has opened up communication for us, how do you think it will help them?
Man, look, it starts on the basic level, it starts on the basic level. So when you look at the love language test, I encourage anybody to take the test and explore the results. Explore the results that you get. Explore it in different ways. But yeah, ultimately, only thing is that it can be superficial. It doesn't encourage a lot of introspection when it comes to that. I didn't feel that it was a lot of introspection that was necessarily being encouraged by the test.
Do you want to read the book so that way you can get the full dose of the reflection and introspection that is encouraged?
There you go. I don't know. I might read the book. I might not. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because we went through we just did the test. We didn't actually read the book by Gary Chapman and get the full understanding of the psychology behind each philosophy. So I think that that would be helpful. But even if you're a single person and you're not in a relationship, understanding what your primary love language is helpful for building the self love foundation that you need to have in order to have a healthy relationship. So, yeah, I think that wraps up our thoughts. If you have any questions or comments about anything that you'd like us to discuss, or any questions about anything that we've already discussed, please comment below. Thanks, everyone.